Hello, and this is World back with another one. In this little trio of videos today, I'm now on the Warlock. Now, my Warlock build does utilize special ammo, and I am working on getting resources to have some resources to upgrade. Cool. But probably still not enough for what I'm wanting. Yeah, I'm not thinking enough for what I'm wanting. Or am I blind? What the heck? Where is fusion ammo finder? I know it's there. Oh, that's right. Oh, I do have enough. Cool. Well, now I have one on there, but with this, my appearance looks like garbage. And sadly, this exotic does not really have much good, and even when it goes there, it is very extravagant. Although, one upside. Never mind. I was thinking, and then I was stupid for thinking. I was thinking I could change the color of that, but oh well. Even with it being stuck that color, as a Arc Warlock, it fits. But me not having that, I'm stuck with this. But what this build comes down to is, in essence, 100% uptime on Arc Soul, constantly amplified, and create a crap ton of ionic traces. So the Vesper of Radius here, in all of its hideous glory, Rifts release a arc shockwave when cast, and Rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by enemies. What I have paired with that is, in my subclass, the Healing Rift. You are mostly stationary and you want things to swarm you, because the more things around you, the faster you can cast that and create that lightning pulse from it. You have Burst Glide. Doesn't really matter what you take there. Chain Lightning and Ball Lightning also doesn't really matter what you take there. This one's really good because if you're amplified, which you are almost constantly are, you punch an enemy and it creates 2 chains of lightning, or say you're dealing with a higher health target, use Ball Lightning, shoot that above their head, and it will explode twice, dealing double the damage as a melee. I utilize Pulse Grenade. I never got any of the others simply because I already knew what I wanted. Pulse Grenade with Spark of Shock is absolutely ridiculous, and is also they walk into that, they're going to get hit by that, and then they chain lightning to everything around them. So more chain lightning, because why not? I have Spark of Resistance, damage reduction while surrounded. Also very nice. And Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create ionic traces. That paired with what else I'm using as my Arc Weapon, yeah, you'll see quite a bit of ionic traces. Spark of Ions, defeating a jolted target, creates an ionic trace. So, melee doesn't really do it, but my grenade, paired with that, jolts. And then there's this. Arc Soul. Cast your Rift to create an Arc Soul that can fire at targets in front of you. Allies can also pass through your Rift to get an Arc Soul. Your Rift charges faster when allies are near. This combination of when allies are near and when enemies are near, your Rift is constantly regenning. And while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged and gain increased fire rate. Now that, you almost have 100% uptime on that supercharged. And then Electrostatic Mind, defeating targets with Arc abilities, Arc Soul, Healing Rift, yeah, or defeating Jolted, creates ionic traces. Collecting Ionic Trace makes me amplified. Now, there's a lot of things that my ionic traces play with. However, the weapon I choose also has a form of creating ionic traces. So this, if you hip fire, don't ADS with this gun. Hip fire. Final blows with this weapon have a chance of generating ionic traces. This paired with what I have in my subclass is a very high chance that a kill with this generates an ionic trace. Powerful foes and opposing guardians always generate ionic traces. Basically think of this as a charge up hip fire shotgun. That's all there is really to it. But then Tempest of Cascade, collecting an ionic trace, overcharges this weapon's next shot, jolting targets on hit. Yeah, this gun really ties well with everything else that's going on here. Now, in addition to all that, I threw it in as just a meme, but it actually seems to work pretty well for weakening things and overall just staggering what damage you're taking, because the Vesper of Radius, that lightning out, 1, it does a lot of damage, 2, it staggers anything that survives, unless it's a champion. Champions you do need other sources to deal with. But the reactive pulse basically does the same thing as the Vesper of Radius's arc explosion. But that is just one mod. I have that paired with Elemental Charge, Seeking Wells, Elemental Ordnance, and Elemental Armaments. So I have pretty decent uptime on that, and that will handle thralls very well. Because if you get 2 stacks of Charge with Light, you get 2 pulses off of being hit. And you're also being surrounded by them. So Vesper of Radius charges your class ability even faster. But I am over here on the moon, and realized I loaded in the wrong area. I want to show you just how fast, with 100 recovery, my class ability can recharge just by being surrounded by foes. And then I'll cast it once. So, first cast, I'll just do out here where there's no enemies. Empty my class ability. So you see, it's pretty slow. Granted, I do have 100 recovery, so it's only going to take like 40 seconds. If you eyeball that though, I come around this bend, enemies spawn, I'll just go stand in the middle of them. Suddenly, that recharges a lot faster. And I cast that, and that happens. And look at that. Cast again. They're dead. Move on to the next group. Throw a grenade. And yes, Amplified is very nice and extends the duration of your glide, and you can get areas really easily. Now, with my Titan, I'm sorry about not showing combat with it. I had meant to. Kinda spaced it and ended the video there, so I'll be making a 4th video showing its gameplay. But yeah, it is somewhat of an incomplete build. I still need to upgrade this 2 more times and get double melee resist since I'm surrounded all the time. And then the only reason reactive pulse is there, well, I guess I could change those around, but the reactive pulse, I'll go ahead and switch over to this because I completely forgot about showing you guys that. Hit fire. Screw you. I don't want to deal with Hit fire. And hit fire. Yeah. This thing is a lane clearer when you can hit things. But, as you saw right there, I had been charged with light. I just send out this big old pulse of damage to everything. Just overall weakens everything around me. Getting low on health. Boom. And this is really just as simple as the build is. And notice how many ionic traces I am making. Now, you really want to treat this like a shotgun because its spread is pretty massive. But each bolt does a lot of damage. Now this build, once it's complete, probably going to be swapping out reactive pulse with protective light. And besides that, it's basically swapping protective light and elemental ordnance around and upgrading this some to get that double melee resist. Basically just adding more survivability to it. Now, it is possible to get double 100 in Resil and Recovery. It is very hard, but if you can do that, absolutely do that with this build, and you'll be soaring through a lot of content pretty easily. And if you've got a fire team, you're going to be going through it even faster. There is one supplement to this, until such point as you have everything upgraded enough to have this build ran properly. If you have it, the Karnstein armlets work with any glaives. So you can be any subclass, throw on Karnstein, throw on a glaive, and you'll be constantly healing if you're killing enemies with your glaive. Just a little side note there. The Vesper, by far, feels more efficient than it for clearing groups, but you're going to have to build a little more into. But yeah, Willis's World, out on Warlock.